Hey, it's me, ABSD. Welcome back to the Inner Dialogue podcast. I am excited to be in this space tonight because I feel more like myself. The last few weeks, I have felt disconnected from myself, disconnected from my authenticity. And I've spent the last 4 days trying to figure out why and trying to find my way back. My last episode before this is titled just that, Finding My Way Back. And I have not yet listened back to it, but from being in that space, I was not in a good space when I recorded that episode. Coming off of having COVID and not having processed anything, feeling my feelings or doing my daily practices for over 2 weeks, I felt lost from my own self. I went on vacation and it was like I took a vacation from my daily practices as well. The things that help make me me and help make me love loudly and take up space and be my most authentic self. And I wasn't taking care of me. And I didn't do it consciously either. And part of that is because my daily practices are not yet routine and pattern. I'm still walking the walk. I'm still learning how to practice what I preach. I'm still learning how to integrate all of these new mindset beliefs and spiritual practices into my life. So when I went on vacation, none of it was actually implemented on a regular basis, on a routine basis, that I didn't have a plan for when I went on vacation. I've said this multiple times, and it feels very evident that that trip was like a vivid dream, as well with the week afterwards having COVID. It's like when you're living outside of yourself and you're almost watching yourself experiencing it, but you're not fully in experiencing it yourself. And that's because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't processing things as they were happening. I wasn't taking the time to be still and doing my affirmations and journaling. I'm still working on integrating meditation into my life. I have not yet on a regular basis at all. And that not having any of my daily practice while also being around people who I'm not regularly around, I almost didn't know how to be any version of me. I didn't want to be the old version of me because that's not me at all. And I didn't know how to show who I am. So I lived a vivid dream. The entire trip was a blast. It was so much fun being on the cruise and getting to see and experience all of my different family members and friends. Getting to spend some time in Sarasota beforehand to spend time with my partner's family. I loved connecting with everybody. I loved getting to see everybody after not seeing them for a while because of COVID. The last time I saw most of my family was at my wedding. But when you're getting married, you aren't spending as much intentional time with the people that are there. I did get to have some really good intentional time with people at my wedding, and it was magical. Beforehand, I had made all of these tiny joints that I essentially passed out to people and gave to people at the hotel, and we would all just sit in a big circle outside and talk with each other and pass around these mini joints and be in good company. It was awesome. That's the kind of environment that I love to cultivate. the kind of environment where people can come together and have cool conversations and get to know the person sitting next to them. That was what our wedding was. It was such a magical time and event. I would recreate that over and over and over again and put it in a bottle for people to have if I knew how to. It was magical. I wanted more of that on the cruise. And I went into the cruise with zero expectations, but also zero processing around it. I've mentioned before in another episode that when I went to Florida in April, I processed that on my own and in therapy for over a month before I actually went on that trip. I didn't process going on this trip at all. And maybe part of that was I thought I didn't need to. Maybe part of it was I didn't know how. But I'm still working on learning what makes me me and how to be authentically me. And part of that is my queerness and learning what that means to me and how it feels in my body and how I identify in this life. And another huge part of that is learning how to talk about that and be open within myself, but also open with other people, especially I had a couple of interesting experiences today. Today was a really jam-packed day. I nannied in the morning and then came home, ate a quick lunch, had a meeting with Brandon. It was awesome. Then had our weekly Born to Slay live call. That was awesome. And then I went straight into my pre-camp call with my family for the camp that I'm working at in a couple of weeks. It was a very busy couple of hours, and then straight from there I went to the office to turn in our notice to vacate, and then to Jared to get my ring cleaned because of the insurance. I have to get it done every 6 months. And I ended up being in there for longer because I asked them to size it. But throughout that experience, I had a couple of interactions that were interesting to me and just stood out. During my pre-camp call, I was talking with the mom, and I had used the term partner when talking about Nick and I moving to Longmont, because that's what I call Nick. I call him my partner because he is. And she then asked me if I went to Pride this past weekend. And I wasn't able to go to Pride. It was my plan, but because I had COVID, I didn't think it was responsible to go. And I also was exhausted and couldn't actually be in a crowd in that way. It wouldn't have been good for me, which was really unfortunate because I was really looking forward to experiencing Pride for the first time this year and also in Colorado. Just being me. And so I thought that interaction was interesting because I've used the term partner and also the way that I identify on the outside now to people who don't know me and know nothing about my life. My queerness is obvious, which I really love because it's such a big part of me that I am learning how to listen to on the inside and on the outside. The other interaction I had today was at Jared. I went in and my ring is way too big for me. I haven't worn it in a while because it's just become uncomfortably big on my finger. And I had asked the lady who was helping me get it cleaned for insurance and inspected if sizing was included in our warranty. Another lady popped in and was like, yeah, it is. It should be included. So as the Lady was ringing me up. Her question that she asked was, is it too tight? And I responded by saying, no, it's too big. It's too loose. But upon reflection, thinking about that interaction, it makes me realize that because I live in a fat body, that is someone's assumption that my ring would be too tight on my finger rather than too big. And I haven't experienced questions like that or comments from people about my fatness in a really long time. And so it was just super apparent and obvious to me, which I thought was interesting. The questions that we ask and the way that we ask them are important and show a lot about what we assume or what we think. And so those two questions that these two strangers who don't know me asked me today were just interesting to hear people's assumptions. I ended up having to get a size and a half taken off my ring, and I'm really excited for it to fit me again. I've been wearing a silicone ring because that has also just felt good to wear a silicone ring. I'm not much of a jewelry person. I love my diamond. It's beautiful. I love my ring. I picked it out and adore the way that it makes me feel and the love that I have for it and that I share with the person who gave it to me. But it does feel like a special occasion type piece of jewelry for me now. I'm just not a jewelry person. I couldn't, and the last time I wore earrings was at my wedding, and a necklace was at my wedding. I would never really been a bracelet person, and I stopped even wearing my watch or hair ties on my wrists because I just don't enjoy it. This episode is called My Way Back. And the last 4 days, I have been working on finding my way back. Finding my way back to my daily practices, finding my way back to me, authentically me. This week, I have found so much gratitude and so much joy in the work that I'm doing with Brandon Foster as his assistant in his mindset company. I love the work that I'm doing. I love that I get to help people. I love that I get to encourage. I love that I get to help him grow his company. I love that I get to grow myself. I love that my thoughts and opinions and ideas are heard and asked to be implemented. I love that I get to take a task and grow it and make it mine and beautiful in the way that feels good to me. I love the freedom that I have with the hours that I can work and when I can work them and fit them into my schedule. I love the communication. I love the 6A framework. I just love everything about it. And it feels really good. And this week, it feels like we took a big step. For the last 2+ months, we have been working towards building together, building trust, building understanding for how the other person works, building a human connection outside of a coach-client relationship. And this past week, I feel like we have broken through a lot of that. And it's going to be really exciting to see where that leads us and the growth that comes along with it. And I'm fucking excited. I've also spent a lot of time this week working on myself, journaling, and spending time with me and in stillness and doing things that feel good to me. I went back to therapy yesterday, and not having therapy for multiple weeks was really hard on me. Having a space to do talk therapy is something that I want every week in my life. Is it something I need? Yes. But it's also something I want. And having space to just decompress and to process and to be challenged and to be heard and to not be judged is the freaking biggest blessing ever. I'm so grateful. I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress. I will always be a work in progress. That's why we're human. We're always meant to be progressing. But I do my best and God does the fucking rest. And I am doing my best each and every day. And I had to get through the part of worrying and living in the fucking future and realize that I need to live in the present to enjoy these moments that I have and to appreciate the moment that I'm in now. Because the future's going to come, but the present's only here now. And I can't change anything in the future, but I can change my choices and decisions and the way I perceive and interpret things now, which is awesome. I've had some really great one-on-one phone calls this week with close humans to me and just catching up and getting to talk about fun topics and hard topics and updates on things going on in their worlds and things going on in my world. And it was really nice. And I appreciate having that time and building those relationships and that love and that trust even deeper than it already is. I'm realizing it's okay to walk off the path that you're recreating sometimes, because it makes you appreciate more of where you want to go and why you're doing it. It makes you stop and think why. Why am I making these changes? Why am I choosing to do this daily practice? Why am I choosing to just choosing love over fear? How can I live every day as my authentic self? How can I incorporate that into my life so that it's not even a question, but it's just who I am? I've had to ask myself a lot of these questions this week because I'm still learning who I am. I'm still learning how to be me. And that's a beautiful thing. And giving myself the space to do it. And also the space to other people to, one, not know how to respond to me, not know what to say or how to interact because they don't know me and they have to learn who I am now. And when you meet a stranger, you are cautious about what you say because you're not sure who they are or how they be. So you tread lightly. And I don't want people to tread lightly around me. I want people to just be them. More than anything in the world, I want people to be them. My background on my phone has the quote, "Be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too." And truthfully, I'm still learning how to be so completely myself. But it's a reminder to me every day that I want to be so completely myself that other people feel just so safe to be themselves too. I want to show people me. I want to be authentically me all the time. And a step in that is saying out loud and mentioning my queerness. Now that I have inserted that into an episode, I am going to do a whole episode on my queerness It's going to be called What My Queerness Means to Me. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I just haven't known how to record that episode. But my queerness is me. We are one, and always have been. And I will talk more about that journey and how I got to be where I am today through that journey. This is my way back. I think that's the beautiful piece of life and this inner dialogue journey, is that we're all on our own ways back. My way back will look different than yours. Finding your way back will look different than mine. But I'm here to celebrate you and encourage you and help you come up with questions to ask yourself to learn more along the way. It's a beautiful journey that we travel on, becoming one's true self, that work in progress, that we're constantly making progress on to ourselves and who we are. This is mine. And as scary as it has been for me to share this with people who are not just inside my head or my partner, it's important for the long-term ABSD and the journey that you are walking with me right now. So thanks for taking another step with me in the direction of my dreams, because a baby step is a motherfucking big step. I love you. Go out, love loudly, take up space, be your authentic self. The world is meant to see you. You and your uniqueness is needed. Be awesome. I love you. Bye.